The episode begins with Aggregor has Rad in his grasp on the desert. Aggregor is about to take Rad aboard his spacecraft when plumbers come to arrest him. Aggregor throws down his spear and uses his ship's lasers to force the plumbers away, escaping with Rad. He confines Rad with the other abducted aliens and tries to flee, but one of the plumbers attacks Aggregor's spacecraft, damaging his hyperdrive and stopping Aggregor from leaving Earth. Ben, Gwen, and Kevin are at Mr. Smoothie, trying out a new smoothie taste, lamb and sardine, which Ben seemed to like. When Ben's admirers arrive to annoy him, their time together is ended. Ben changes into Big Chill, then Ultimate Big Chill, and stops the fans with flames that quickly convert to ice. They head to the desert where Aggregor and the plumbers battled after seeing Max's hologram on the Ultimatrix. Kevin meticulously reconstructs the murder scene, exactly replicating the conflict between the two sides, which astounds the others. They use the Rust Bucket 3 to track down Aggregor's ship. Gwen and Kevin discuss Kevin's intention to bring down Aggregor, with Kevin soothing her with a kiss on the cheek. They track down and combat Agribots. During the fight, Ben changes into Lodestar, and the squad defeats the Agribots. Lodestar tries to utilize his magnetic skills to halt the spacecraft, but it explodes, killing him apparently. Gwen saves Kevin and Max from the explosion and believes Lodestar has been slain, but he reforms. The gang takes the Rust Bucket 3 to the base, where they encounter Bivalven. Several Northrop Grumman F-14 Tomcats accompany them on the approach. Colonel Rosum is introduced to Max by Ben, although Max is already acquainted with Rosum. They are curious about Aggregor's whereabouts and discover that he is at the Los Soledad military facility. Aggregor discovers Professor Paradox's chronologer, which he intends to utilize as a power source to absorb the abilities of the other aliens. Rosum wants the squad to get Aggregor out of Los Soledad, or he would have to blow up the base. Then comes Dox, who describes Aggregor's usage of his time machine. Colonel Rosum grants them permission to halt Aggregor, and Paradox departs. But Rosum maintains his instructions. The base is guarded by Agribots, so they battle, and Ben evolves into Swampfire, followed by Ultimate Swampfire. Aggregor frees Bivalven, Galapagos, Pandor, Andreas, and Rad, but uses headbands to control their brains and have them attack the crew. The crew and the aliens are fighting each other. By dashing Bivalven's forehead into a wall and breaking the headband, Max frees him from Aggregor's hold, but he teleports away. Ultimate Swampfire turns into Nanomic, fires Rad's headband, and vanishes when Rad squeezes him. Subsequently, Kevin leaps to free himself from Andreas's grasp. As the latter was rocking and sitting on him, Kevin strikes at Andreas's temple. Then, with Galapagos blowing air at her, Gwen is seen battling him on screen. Galapagos is impervious to Gwen's mana blasts, despite her best efforts. Creating another mana disc, Gwen fires it into Galapagos's back. After Galapagos collapses, Pandor gets ready to fire his energy beam, but Aggregor teleports him back and Nanomic fires, releasing Pandor's forehead. When Aggregor starts absorbing energy, Kevin tries to talk sense into his head by explaining that he went insane as a child from regularly absorbing energy in the original series when he was Kevin 11 and in an Omniverse flashback. Aggregor, however, doesn't listen and says it's a lie told by powerful Osmosians to control the weak Osmosians. Aggregor shoots Kevin with his spear before he has a chance to talk sense into his mind. Then he activates himself and shatters time itself. Aggregor flees, and the aliens vanish as Nanomech turns into Humongousaur and smashes the contraption. After merging with every extraterrestrial, Aggregor reappears as Ultimate Aggregor. Aggregor has taken on the abilities of Bivalven, Galapagos, Pandor, Andreas, and Rad, converting him into Ultimate Aggregor, an invincible amalgamation of all 5 aliens. Ben, as Humongousaur, strikes Aggregor in a passion of hatred because he believes Aggregor murdered them, apparently pummeling him senseless. Gwen uses her force barriers to stop Ben from beating Aggregor anymore. Ultimate Aggregor, on the other hand, rises up and smugly assures Ben that he didn't feel anything. He now has perfect immunity to Bivalven's armored exoskeleton. Gwen attempts the Erratico spell, but it again fails. He rhetorically asks Gwen if she ever realized Galapagos people are fully invulnerable to mana before blasting her unconscious with Pandor's energy eye pulses. He then fights Kevin and Max, but Kevin is beaten by Andrea's physical strength and Max by Rad's electrical surge blasts. Humongousaur attacks again, but Aggregor destroys him with a single earth-shattering blow, courtesy of Andreas. Ben transforms back into a person before falling asleep. Ben awakens from Aggregor's assault to find Asmuth, Azimuth seems to be dissatisfied with the Ultimatrix's craftsmanship and believes its evolutionary purpose to be asking for trouble, which was created by his former aide, Albedo. Since the gang mulls over how to locate Aggregor, Azimuth declares that he will not be seeking for a new ship, since he no longer needs one with his new abilities. He then informs the group that Aggregor is now on the hunt for the universe's most significant thing, and they have to stop him before he gets it. Azimuth takes Ben, Gwen, and Kevin to Galvin Mark II and discloses to them what Aggregor has been after all along: the Map of Infinity. A mythical item with power that spans 17 dimensions and grants the user the ability to go any place. Because the map is so strong, Professor Paradox separated it into 4 parts and scattered them around the cosmos. Aggregor kidnapped the 5 aliens for their abilities. That combination has now made him strong enough to endure the dangerous search for all of the map's quarters. Gwen first doesn't understand why he would go to all this bother for a simple map, but Max explains that the map is simply the key to Aggregor's true plot. He will proceed to the Forge of Creation and become even more powerful after he has reassembled the fragments. Gwen interrupts the mission briefing when she discovers Max isn't feeling well and has a fever. Max's whole neurological system has been injured as a result of Aggregor's electrical assault, according to Azimuth's doctors. Azimuth orders Max to remain off the mission to recuperate, while the group's duty is to capture the map pieces before Aggregor can get them, just 1 out of 4. Ben, Gwen, and Kevin go to the location of the first map piece, a temple on the planet Mictlety. Gwen points out an unusual detail about the planet. It's really close to the sun and tidally locked, which means that the same side of the planet is always and exclusively facing the sun, leaving the planet half frozen at night, minus 320 degrees, and half molten during day, 3,600 degrees. The squad must don plumber suits or else they would perish in the planet's atmosphere. They locate the temple that houses the map piece, but it is guarded by white necrophrygians. Gwen attempts to make peace with them, but they refuse to let her in. Ben promises them that they may enter by transforming into Big Chill. Unfortunately, Gwen gets concerned that Ben may not be wearing his protective suit when he returns, and if he isn't, he only has 10 minutes unless he transforms into something else first. Ben's shape as one of them fascinates the necrophrygian commander, but he blows it when he mentions stealing an item. This enrages the other necrophrygians, who assault. Gwen can hold her own since her spells are effective against necrophrygians, but Kevin can't utilize his abilities while wearing his costume. Because intangibility is worthless against another intangible entity, Big Chill turns into Echo Echo, and then Ultimate Echo Echo. They make it inside the temple, and the necrophrygians abandon them because the commander warns them that without a guide, they won't live long against the temple's booby traps. Once inside, Gwen gets concerned that Ben has even less time before resuming his ultimate form, and she insists that they hurry. Gwen unintentionally sets a trap, and a massive spiked hammer appears to smash them. Gwen's abilities shield them, and Kevin's suit is damaged, but he survives thanks to fast absorbing the stone on the hammer. Gwen leads the way as the group continues their hunt for the map within the temple. Kevin deploys another trap, and the bridge collapses under them. He and Gwen end themselves in a pool of boiling green slime, but Ultimate Echo Echo saves them. They arrive at 2 corridors, and Gwen guides them into the corridor where a huge noise is originating. Ben inadvertently pushes them down a slide, leading them into a chamber where they battle a slobbery 2-headed Hydra-like creature. The left head shoots fire while the right blasts ice. They proceed after destroying it with Kevin's concussive hammer fist and Ultimate Echo Echo's sonic discs. Ben releases another trap along a hallway, and poison darts come out of the wall, which Gwen shields everyone from with an energy shield. They eventually make it to the chamber carrying the map piece. It's along a short corridor secured by a massive door that takes up much of the space. Ben and Kevin raise the door, and when it becomes too heavy, Ben changes into 4 arms. They move the door just enough for Gwen to enter and get the piece. However, upon entering, she discovers a poison dart lodged in her right arm, where she had been hit earlier, and promptly passes out upon extracting it. With Ben and Kevin imprisoned behind the door, Ben understands he may change his mind at any time. When Aggregor arrives, things escalate from bad to worse. He admits that he's been following the group the whole time and has let them walk through the traps so he doesn't have to. When Aggregor exits with the first piece of the map, Ben pushes the door open with all his might so Kevin can get Gwen out without being crushed. Ben lowers the door, slamming it with a crash, and the lads run back to the ship after Kevin rescues Gwen. Ben transforms into Cannonbolt and crashes through the temple walls, allowing them to escape. When they reach the spacecraft, Ben reverts to his human form and escapes the unsustainable environment. Kevin successfully transports Ben and Gwen onto the ship, and they take off. Kevin uses the plumber's first aid kit's universal poison anti-serum to treat Gwen's poison dart. Ben survives as well, with just a sunburn on the right part of his face. As Kevin and Gwen begin to believe they have been defeated, Ben reminds them that this is just the first map piece. He promises to make Aggregor pay for the next map piece, and the episode concludes with this.